Fantasy Baseball League, the Week 8 review. I'm surprised you have that on. You're such a Jordan lover.
I wore this. Go back and watch the videos. I wore this the last time, too. Just for you.
No, you didn't. You had the Trout jersey on.
When I say last time, I'm referring to last year at this exact same time.
Okay.
Just for you, buddy, because I know how much you love. He loves LeBron.
I do think he doesn't get enough credit, that's for sure. Anyway, this is the Week 8 review. Do you have a synopsis of Week 8? Because I know that you said that...
a synopsis?
A lot of the offensive...
Big word.
Hey, I got big words.
There you go, ladies. You know what he's coming at you with. Big words.
The offensive...
New haircut?
The offensive stats were way down this week, right? Across the board?
Totals-wise, I thought they were, yes.
Yes. So, yes, we will divulge into that.
Unless your last name was Meckley. Then you blew up this week. Past week.
Does that mean you and the other guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right, well, we'll look into it here.
Are you referring to the creator?
Yeah, the creator? That's what he should name his team. Get rid of Zips.
Yeah, I hate Zips.
Anyway, Bear Bashers with the 10-7 win over the newly formed Cobra Kai.
New name, same poopy results.
Yeah, Cobra Kai really hurt himself with the 210 batting average for the week, which will be pretty low, I'm sure.
Nope, someone was lower.
Someone was lower, so it was the second worst batting average of the week. I didn't think the pitching stats were that terrible, both sides, but...
No, you got, well...
Actually, middle of the pack or not?
For pitching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But something that was mentioned in the text thread, there was a lot of benching pitchers happening on Sunday. All around, not just in this matchup, the entire
It's an
week.
interesting topic, and in your opinion, well, you benched some pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
Are you afraid of the big bad total bases category?
That has something to do with it, yes. I'm not saying that has everything to do with it, but if you're noticing that your opponent just isn't throwing pitchers, then it would almost be foolish of you to keep throwing extra pitchers and lose a category just because, if it's not going to gain you anything, then why do it? And I know that's why I think some people are just... I know that's how I view it. I see what my opponent is doing, and then I adjust accordingly. So,
I thought it was very interesting. Like I said, 9. Now, because Bench Champions loves data, we must give the accuracy of it. It was skewed because one team benched 4 pitchers. So, the number is a little high, but...
Yeah. But there was a total of 9 on Sunday. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yes. It's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. That is a lot.
Right, remember making any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy with your victory? Kind of a lackluster matchup now with the way that newly formed Cobra Kai has been trending.
Hey, all I want to do is win every matchup. That's all I need to do. If you win every matchup, what happens? You're at the top of the standings. It's shocking, isn't it?
I have a losing record, and I'm at the top of the standings.
Well, if you win every matchup, you can also be at the top of the standings.
Oh, I thought that was pretty obvious.
Well, that's why I said
Actually, not really, because if you keep winning everything like 8-7, you'll be in the playoffs, but I don't know if that guarantees you being in the top of the standings.
You never know.
So you were not impressed with the managerial skills of Cobra Kai? You didn't do anything that impressed you? You said you benched your pitchers over the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I only benched 2. I think I was 2 of the 9, but yeah.
5 losses from your great pitching staff. That's very un-Bear Basher-like. Interesting.
Yeah. Do you remember when Bear Bashers lost last time? Do you remember that? That was a long, long time ago. Can you remember back that far?
Was this freaking story time?
I'm just wondering.
Do you remember?
Anyway, next matchup. Team.
Hold on, I didn't get to give my stat.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Because
Seemed
he
like you were
doesn't like these. This was the number 7 Roto team for the week, defeating the number 8 team Roto wise.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. But again, I play my opponent. So.
Well, when your opponent can only beat 2 other teams from that week, you don't really have to do a lot of managing.
I didn't say I had to. All right.
Ooh, Cobra Kai, did you hear that? He said he didn't even have to do any managing. That's what he just said. Wow.
Next matchup, Team V with the furious weekend comeback of the 12-5 victory over All Rise. Basically, I know the first half of the week it was a cry fest from Team V. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I put in everybody and they all go 0 for 4. Wah, cry. But then in the weekend hit, they were like, all right, I guess we need to start hitting so our GM will stop crying, and then they did. So.
Very unlucky week for All Rise. He actually put up a 103-point score on our Roto stats, which is 9 times out of 10 going to mean that you won your matchup. He was number 5 and he played number 2. So that's all I have to say about that one.
Okay.
Played the number one offense of the week, buddy. Number 1 offense of the week.
Yeah, I could see that because it was a down week in offense. But what was his roto? You never actually said what his roto was.
His total roto?
Yeah.
Oh, his total roto was 103.5. That was the first thing I said.
No. But I mean rankings. I don't.
I said he was number
5.
He was number 5.
Okay. So if 1 plays 5, you don't think that's about right? Your little 12-5 win there.
I was 2.
Oh, you were 2. You were
I was
number 1.
Number 1 in offense. Number
No,
one in
I'm
offense.
sorry. Number 1 in offense. Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
That seems maybe like a little bit of bad luck, but
I was just saying his total roto for the week is 103.5, which if you go back to the roto stats, and I am going to start doing this because I know Bench Champions is very curious about this. By the way, here's the formula you've been asking for: 1 + 1 gives you 2. There's your formula. Anyways, did you miss it?
no, I
Do you
saw
need me to
it.
write it down for you?
No, I got it.
So 103 is normally a winning score
Mhm.
in any other roto week. So,
Mm.
but Zips was the big boy, 130. That's a big score. Haven't seen a score like that in a while, roto wise.
Okay. You see.
Go ahead. Look at the stats.
No. My opinion of All Rise is that he's got an issue going on with the amount of strikeouts he gets with his pitchers, and that just does not lead well to other stuff.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
What you're saying is for the amount of pitching that he throws, to have that few strikeouts is an issue.
Yes, and I'm seeing this every week with him, and that's what hurts his.
But
pitching
here's
stats.
the thing. I will tell you again, and I've said this about the pitching. If you take away yours and Ben's Champion's strikeouts, everybody was in the 60s or 50s this week in strikeouts. Say that out loud.
You took 2 people away.
The two highest, yes. No, but listen, 90 and 80, and everybody else is in the 60s or 50s.
Yeah.
I just don't remember. I was telling him, I don't remember strikeouts being so low to win the category.
Well, that's because people aren't pitching as many guys.
Well, that's the interesting topic. That's what I think is interesting.
But get back to what I was trying to say. He had 69 innings and 105 total bases. And the reason why that's happening is because he doesn't have strikeout pitchers, for the most part. I'm sure he's got 1 or 2, but I mean,
Right.
overall in his entire.
I mean, I
his
would say
entire staff.
Teheran should get him strikeouts, but
He might be a strikeout an inning guy.
let's be accurate. We don't want to be accused of not being
Well,
accurate.
I gave nothing that wasn't accurate. I'm reading the stats.
Right, but you're reading stats from a small window.
Yeah, well, I just remember how awful it was the previous week in his strikeouts to innings. We discussed that because it was a big differential. And, I think he's very fortunate to have a whip that's down as low as 120, giving up that many total bases and giving up that much contact with his pitching staff. The show has come to a screeching halt.
No, well, you're supposed to be filling time.
Well,
he doesn't. He only has one guy who would actually have a K per 9 of 9.
Yeah.
Everybody else has fewer strikeouts than innings pitched.
Yeah.
Every single guy except for Cole Hamels.
Yeah.
Would you have guessed that? Cole Hamels?
No, and that's interesting that he's that high. So yeah. So I think the biggest issue with All Rise right now is actually
Gio is 64 innings and 63 strikeouts.
yeah,
but-
pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody else is down by 10. So
Yeah.
interesting.
So I basically the moral of the story is I'm down on All Rise's pitching staff, and I
Interesting.
think he needs to address that, or
Interesting.
he's going to struggle, or continue to struggle at least. Because I mean he has dropped way down now. That beating really took him down because he went from like third in the standings to eighth this week.
So we'll talk about that too. There was a huge shakeup standings wise that
Yeah.
was interesting.
Okay, next matchup, you can finally talk about this guy, Zips, with his amazing roto win.
Number one roto guy with a score of 130,
Number one.
which is probably one of the highest of the seasons.
Okay, I would agree with that.
If-
However, who he played obviously did not have a good roto week. Alaska Glaciers. I'm looking at it and you can't tell
He had
me.
a better roto week than you, sir.
Oh, get out of town with that. Get out of town with it. No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
229 batting average, 4 homers, and 20 RBIs. Please. Please. Come on. You didn't say that out loud. Get out of here. Just because he had a good ERA and a whip. I guess that's why. What was his sixth roto week you're gonna say?
Yeah.
I bet.
Because his pitching.
Yeah.
Because his pitching.
Yeah.
Yes. No, offensively, he was the worst offense of the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So.
But it wouldn't have mattered because Zips had the. I would actually let me change the statement here. I would rank my offense number 2 and rank his number 1, even though we finished with the same roto score, only because he had more first place finishes than I do. So I would say that he, as Zips, had the number 1 offense for the week, and I had number 2, just because he was the guy in runs, homers, RBIs, average, and on-base percentage for the week.
Yeah.
Which is very uncharacteristic because normally stolen bases in the small ball categories is what you think of when you think of Zips' team.
Yeah, I'm surprised he had 14 home runs. That is a lot of home runs. So we're gonna do some quick research on this. Although he dropped Reynolds, he had 2 home runs. He's like, forget this guy, I don't need him. Salvador Perez had 3. Jose Ramirez had 2. And just had a lot. Shaw had 3.
There you go.
He had a lot of guys who had 2 or
2 and
3.
3?
Yeah, it wasn't like one guy that carried him. So, all right. So yes, Zips finally had a good offensive week, but I feel like he was sort of due for one because he was so bad the previous few weeks.
Yes.
Some of these things go in cycles. It's just what happens. So actually, the one that was interesting to me was how bad Alaska Glaciers was, and
But it's offensively. I mean, not pitching. I mean,
right.
the guy had a 2.54 ERA and a .95 WHIP for the week. I mean, you'd think that you're going to win most of the other categories that way if your pitching staff's that good.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
Right.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're really big on Alaska Glaciers pitching staff, aren't you?
I think it's good.
Okay. All right. We'll look into that and we'll talk about that a little bit later too.
All right. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
66-44.
Sir!
Everybody's favorite team to talk about on the text thread.
40.
Don't you think?
Well, who wouldn't want to have his roster?
Oh, I know. It's just amazing.
I think it is.
It's just tremendous. It's spectacular.
Do you know what would make his amazing the most amazing roster?
What?
If it was mine.
Anyway, the 11-5 win over Ben's Champions. Wait a minute. Ben's Champions faced some adversity. What are we gonna do? For those of you who don't know, he put in the text thread that this was the first time he faced any adversity, as if he has just run roughshod through the league this year.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why I just thought it was funny. Yeah,
His offense is non-existent. And when your offense is non-existent and it's already been established that you can't win pitching,
yeah,
you're going to get smoked.
right. It'll be interesting to see the power rankings this week to see if that changed anything, because I know that you always had Ben's Champions ranked very high, And you can see what happens when he loses.
Well-
when his offense is just average. Well, this was actually below average.
Correct.
Offense. What was the actual ranking for his offense?
He would have been 34, so he actually was probably
Middle of the pack, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he did have 13 homers. That was the only thing
he
he
would
did.
have been 5th.
Yeah, so it was middle of the pack.
Oh, but still.
But yeah, but you hit 218. See, there's
But see, that's what I'm telling you. Like, remember I told you that. Listen to these batting averages for the week: 287, 257, 229. 307, 227, 210, 218, 266, 206, and 259. What the hell is going on?
oh, there's a lot of bad batting averages this week.
Holy heck.
That's all it was. It's one of those weeks, man. Because really,
We're loaded with great stats this week.
yeah. But ultimately, when you throw, listen, think about this: 92 innings, Ben's champions had to throw. I mean, 92.
Because he was chasing quality starts
Yeah,
and strikeouts.
5.54 ERA. I mean, that's a lot of innings to have an ERA that high. So wouldn't you say that his streaming was not a great streaming week at all?
Oh,
You know?
well, here's what solidifies it. Not only did he have a bad streaming week, but he also made poor choices because he only had 3 wins. How do you
Yeah.
throw 90 innings and only get 3 wins?
I know. That's
I had 3 wins, and I think I threw 45 innings.
actually he tied 66-44. He threw 47 innings and only had 3 wins.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah, they tied in wins. So
maybe less stock research and more probable pitching research would be.
I hate that so much. Anyway,
By the way, he was the number 9 Roto team for the week. When's the last time you heard me say Ben's Champions was number 9 in Roto score?
no, he faced adversity. That's
Yes,
what it
he
was.
faced the number 4 team.
All right, well, here's an interesting matchup. The last matchup of the week, Team Joe Boo
Not really.
got back into relevance there with a 15-3 win. You don't care about it because Five Swords was the worst Roto team, I imagine.
Oh,
Is that
he was
correct?
terrible.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But here's what you're not going to recognize
I
is
didn't
that.
get there yet. What?
We'll look at it. Team Joe Boo was actually the 3rd best Roto team of the week.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. If he was the 3rd best Roto, then he deserves a big win.
Correct.
So,
That's why I said this doesn't. The score is that's what it should be. When you play the poopiest team, you should beat the crap out of them. But again, this only solidifies when I cover this. He is by far and away with the new strength of schedule rankings. He's even way ahead of you now. And I know 4 doesn't sound like a lot. It is. It's a joke. 58 is his score. 58.
I'm sorry, you need to say more of that because when you say he's way ahead of me, what does that mean?
So basically, when you do the Roto, I give you the points then based on the ranking of the team for that week.
Yes.
So he played 5 swords, which is a 10. So he gets 10 points.
Mhm.
So we're at what, week 8, right?
8 weeks have been completed, yes.
So let's just say on the average, 8 weeks, he has a score of 58. Okay? That means his average ranking of his opponent is a 7.
Okay. So he's been extremely fortunate.
Yes.
Is what you're
yes.
saying.
Yes. Every time he plays somebody, they have one of their worst weeks. I mean, it's not that he's playing 5 swords for 8 straight weeks.
Yeah.
It's that every time he plays somebody, they seem to poop the bed.
Right, right.
And it's just, contrast to someone like 6644. This is why everybody loves him. He has a strength of schedule score of 36. Which means over 8 weeks on average, he's playing a top 4 team every matchup. That's tough. That's tough to be consistent. It's tough, and I think it's also tougher to gauge your team. Like if you're Team Joe Bill and you just had this whooping, all right, and you've shot back up to the standings.
Yeah.
Do you feel good about yourself? Are you feeling good about your team?
I would, because you just said that he was the 3rd Roto.
I would agree with that. Yes.
Because you're saying, okay, that means I was better than 6 other people.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
He
So,
used Roto stats for that one.
well, I was just, you asked me a question, I'll give you an answer. So, those are all the matchups. Do we have
I don't know. Never look.
trades? Well, I know we have trades. We have a few trades to talk about. That I do know for sure.
Ooh, a few.
Yeah, a few.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah, because there was one last week that we were like, we got to wait until next week to talk about.
All right. So the dates are Anything from the 21st to the 27th.
The 21st through the 27th.
Yes. Boom shakalaka. And survey says it's a lot. I thought we talked about D. Gordon and Tyler O'Neill.
I don't know. Well, here's what I know we can talk about. The fact that he was dropped already.
Doesn't matter, he's on his farm list.
Yeah, but
I know.
it's like such a wasted
trade.
move. Yeah, I mean, and he's his strikeout rate is through the roof. He's going to be sent down like
Well, I know.
if he hasn't been yet. I don't think.
I
but-
know. Ben's Champions knew what he was doing. All right, I mean, that's the first one on there that I see that qualifies is Tyler O'Neill for D. Gordon.
Mhm.
But I thought we talked about that, but
I'm not 100% sure that we did. And you're saying that's the only one that qualifies this week? Everything else was this
that's the first week. First one.
first one?
First one.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
So
we
basically, if we did talk about it, we apologize. Ben's Champions acquires D. Gordon for Zips, Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill was a farm guy.
yes, and there's not enough outfield positions for him to play, and that's what we said.
Well, there is. There's 3 outfield positions.
Yes, but there's too many other outfielders, and
Too
they're-
much depth.
Yeah, they're paying Dexter Fowler way too much money to just say, Dexter Fowler, you're going to be the guy sitting.
Interesting article read on Dexter Fowler. Some more stats for you, Globo, a.k.a. Cobra,
Mm-hmm.
a.k.a. Ben Jr. 176 BABIP. Extremely unlucky. 176 BABIP.
But see, is that extremely unlucky, or is he just making soft contact though? Do you know what I mean?
I don't have the
But
exit velocity.
Right.
numbers
I'm
for it.
not asking you to, but do you get what I'm saying? Like he could just be sitting there
It could
hitting poor contact the whole time. You know.
Right. That could be too. You're accurate with that. So, any other closing thoughts on D. Gordon for Tyler O'Neill?
Yeah,
You
it was
agree that
awful. I hated it.
Okay.
That's just not how we should do things.
So can we start from this point, keeping track of how many times someone other than Team Z rips off Zips in a trade? Because we only seem to keep track of the relationship trades.
Well, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you know the answer to this?
How do I know the answer if you didn't ask the question?
Well, you have to let me finish the question. Was this a trade that was offered by Zips? Did Zips go to
Okay, well before I answer,
Champions and say, hey, I want Tyler O'Neill?
but before I answer that, let me come back with a question. If you're telling me that's the criteria for it, I can tell you that every trade I've ever made with him is he's offered to me. So does that make me clear then?
It helps. It helps that you're not just trying to rip him off. Yeah. No, I'm serious. There is something.
First
there's
of all,
some
rip
credence to
off.
that.
First of all, let's talk about that. Rip off. Okay, and this goes into another debate that Ben's Champions and I have. Winning the trade.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're saying you always try to make an even trade with someone?
Yeah, for the most part.
Interesting.
If I ever offer a trade to someone, I look at their team and say, okay, these are their needs.
I didn't ask you about their needs.
Well, I'm
talking
telling you
about
how I
when
make
you
the trade.
I'm talking. Well,
You asked the question, and I'm trying to answer it. I look at their team and say, these are their team needs.
Okay.
I say, you need a starting pitcher. I say, here's a starting pitcher for you. Do you like this starting pitcher? Can we make a trade with this starting pitcher? You know what I mean? Or, hey, you need a third baseman. This is the third baseman I would like to trade to you. Can we make a trade? Like, I look at their needs. Like, for instance, I wouldn't trade 66-40 for a shortstop because he's got 5 of them. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, why would I even offer another shortstop to him? Like, that's just how I do things. That doesn't mean that's how everybody else does, because I know they don't. But, okay, now you can say whatever you want to say.
So you're going to answer the question. Do you told me how your thought process is.
Yeah.
When you're making a trade with someone, do you make sure that you think both sides are even in value?
Yeah, because I don't want to insult them. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that happens sometimes where people are like, oh, that's an insulting offer. And usually the reason why they say it's insulting is because the guy's 24 years old. Not that he's actually good. It's just that they look at the age and then suddenly that age makes him 100 times better than he actually is. So that's why I don't make that many trades, because I realize that the age in this league is just so overvalued. It's insane. Look at what we just had. We just had O'Neal traded for D. Gordon. Say that out loud. That's ridiculous. That shouldn't happen.
Well, I agree, it shouldn't.
And the only reason it did is because O'Neal is a prospect, and he could be the next Mike Trout because he's hitting home runs at a ridiculous pace.
I would agree with that if you were talking about any other person in the league other than Zips. He doesn't care about prospects. That's who acquired Tyler O'Neill. He doesn't care about age and prospects. He cares about guys that are hot. And when he made the trade, Tyler O'Neill was hot.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he was going to keep a starting outfield job. He didn't do his homework.
Mm-hmm.
And
All right.
so can't say that. So my question is, when you are looking at a trade, you don't ever think to yourself, man, that's a pretty even trade. And you're okay with that?
I'm okay if it's an even trade.
Okay, good.
Would
I'm
I
okay.
be?
Well, no, but I'm saying, so when you turn down trades, is it because then you don't think it's even, or is it because it's not what you want or need?
No, it's usually there's been very even trades. There's even been trades that I felt were lopsided in my favor that I turned down because I realized that's not going to help my team because I need all the pieces to stay the way they are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about team needs when you make a trade.
Okay.
What are we getting at right now? Do you have a point? What do you? You ask me a question, I'm going to answer the question, but I don't get what you're saying.
You answered it.
Oh, okay.
You gave the viewers what they wanted.
Oh, yeah. They're probably more confused now than they were beforehand. So, okay. Go
Trade
on to the
number
next
2.
Trade number 2.
This is kind of a star potential. Paul Goldschmidt was traded for Steven Strasburg and David Dahl.
Yeah.
There was also a swap of draft picks in the trade.
I thought this trade was interesting because I do wonder if Alaska Glaciers is assessing his offensive woes. And he's like, hey, hopefully I can get Goldschmidt to be Goldschmidt of old and not what's happening right now.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was okay with that. For you, I think you were just trying to get out of him as quick as possible. You're like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. He's killing me right now. As opposed to looking at the big picture. Would you agree with that?
I don't dispute that statement.
Yeah, exactly.
I will tell you this, I was very disappointed of the market value for Paul Goldschmidt.
Well, everybody was scared. I mean, you look at it and it's scary. I mean, you can roll your eyes all you want to, but when you see a guy hitting 198, you're like, man, how can I trade for this guy? And that's what he was down to at one point. I know he's been hot the last week or so, kind of. He's heated up a
still
little bit.
striking out though.
But yeah, I mean, you can't. You're like, man, I can't trade stars for this guy right now. It's hard to do.
All right.
Now, as far as Strasburg goes, I feel like he always gets hurt.
But he doesn't. It's already been disproven.
It's not disproven, dude. He's never. How many times has he even thrown a full season? How is that not disproven? We've talked about this before.
No, your statement should be how many times has he thrown 200 innings. That should be your statement.
Which is 0. Go ahead, click on it. We talked about this in the text thread. He's never thrown 200 innings. He's had one year where he threw like 197, which is like 20 innings more than he's ever had in his career. He's clicking on the stats right now, so we'll back it up.
Okay. So, for argument's sake, the year 2014 never happened.
Okay. One year out of how many years? How many years? How many years has he been in the league? You said 1 year.
2.
Yeah, he's been in 2. Right. Yeah. He's a frequent DL guy, and a lot of times it's at the end of seasons when you really need him when he's on the DL. So that's why I've never been a big Strasburg guy.
Okay.
Basically, he's had 2 years where he started 30 games.
Correct.
Yeah. He's been in the league since 2010. So this is his 9th year right now. So I'm not saying he's not great when he's pitching. He is. And he's on a team who wins a lot, so that's a good thing too. But
thoughts on David Dahl?
it's not that I don't like him Colorado confuses me. There's too many parts there. I don't know who gets the playing time and who we go with there.
They have so many good young guys, and they're just stuck with these bad contracts.
Yeah, I know. So it's not because I do think David Dahl's good, but he's still going to be hurting for playing time. You know, it's hard to be a regular player when there's that many guys. So if we're trying to actually say what the trade is, I'm okay with it. You're trying to get rid of Goldschmidt, and at least you got something back.
That was the best I could get.
That was the best you could get. So.
Or I could have had Nick Castellanos.
And it could be a huge trade for Alaska Glaciers if Goldie goes back to what he was.
Correct.
So I'm okay with
Risk
it.
reward.
All right. So next trade.
Speaking of Nick Castellanos, so I segued into that.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Bellinger
Yeah.
and Kyle Hendricks
Mm-hmm.
for Nick Castellanos.
I'll be honest. I just sort of hope that Nick Castellanos stops hitting so I can quit reading it once a day in our text thread. I should have never traded Castellanos. That was the worst trade ever. He just keeps hitting. Bench Champions misses him. Of course he does, because he's the one guy who's actually hitting 300. And nobody else on Bench Champions does that anymore. He's got a bunch of power guys, and there was one guy who actually had average, and he traded him away. So, now you pulled away the trade. What was the rest of the trade?
Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger and
I believe it was Kyle Hendricks.
Kyle Hendricks.
You love Kyle Hendricks.
I like Kyle Hendricks because he doesn't walk a lot of guys. He pitches for a good team.
Okay.
So, what are you laughing about? Why is that funny? If you don't walk a lot of guys, usually your whip isn't.
No,
is
I was
pretty
laughing at the pitches for a good team part. Go ahead.
decent. You don't think the Cubs are a good team? Yeah, you'll see at the end of the year. Yes, they will be like in the 95 win range. Just because they're not now doesn't mean they won't be at the end of the year.
I hope they not in the 95 win range right now. That'd be
Well,
crazy.
I'm saying they're not on pace for that right now. But I think I don't need to blast Bellinger anymore.
Well, I was just going to say,
I've
do you
always
think that's
hated
the best you could get for Cody Bellinger?
Yes. Yeah. If you look at his numbers, he's... Can I say it? Can
It's
I
your
say it?
video.
It's free agent fodder.
Ooh. Ooh. But he's so young and so good.
He had 1 year where he had 35 home runs. And then everybody gets excited. I compared him to Adam Duvall and in the text thread. Now, obviously, I don't think he has that bad of a batting average. But the actual power numbers are going to be very similar.
I don't know. They were talking about him on MLB and throw him any fastball anywhere above his hands and he can't hit it.
And I told you that before they even said it on MLB. Give me credit. I did. I said that to you. He will never give me credit for anything, but I did. And I knew that just by watching it, because I watch a lot of Dodgers.
All he does is regurgitate what he hears on Sirius Radio anyways.
It's not true. Not even close to true.
There are no records. That was the last trade.
Oh, okay. So you did check records, and there is no records.
No records.
There are no records. So, do we have a hot topic for the week?
Yes,
We do. Okay.
I think so.
All right. Well, we are going to take a break, and then we will be prepared.
Timeout 20. Taking a 20.
Taking a 20-second timeout, and then we'll be prepared for the hot topic of the week. Hot topic. Okay, so apparently the hot topic is going to be roster management. We'll start with pitching. What do you want to say about it?
I just think, and I know this was brought up in the text thread about how it's a chess match now, kind of is the phrase, and I don't know if it's really. Is it a chess match, or are guys just really overthinking things? It's kind of what I'm asking. I mean,
It's a little bit of both is the correct answer.
It's just, I mean, not to talk about this week, but we got guys benching guys already at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
It's
Here,
amazing.
And here's my aspect of that. If you're going to bench guys early in the week, why are they on your team? That's the way I look at it. Because
Well,
at least
if he's a two-star starter, I could see maybe you don't want to throw him against one, but want to save him for the other.
okay, that's a good argument. However, why would you sit somebody on a Wednesday night? If you're going to sit that guy on a Wednesday night, you have wasted a roster spot for the entire week on that guy.
Yeah.
And you can see that before the week even happens. You can see that guy and say, oh, he's pitching Wednesday. But let me ask you this. And again, I'm sorry that this is the example that we have. Would you pitch John Gray against San Francisco?
If it was, well,
It's at Colorado, but it's still San Francisco. Do you consider their offense some sort of juggernaut offense that you're scared of? I don't think anybody would say that.
See, but I'm different than you. I wouldn't throw him just because it was in Colorado to begin with.
So you're just basically, do you think that is what Alaska Glaciers is doing? Is basically saying, I'm not ever throwing John Gray in Colorado?
If I was him, that's what I would do.
Now, if that's the case,
Okay.
right now, he only has 6 active starters. That's it.
That's the minimum, by the way.
Yeah, you must have 6. Now, he usually would have 7, but Syndergaard is on the DL.
Right. Well, he normally, as a team strategy, carries 8 or 9. So the fact that he's that low is interesting.
Yeah. But to me, that's just a wasted roster spot. But it gets even more in depth, okay? Because if you're a guy like Alaska Glaciers, where life just gets in the way, you're too busy to set your lineup. You know what I mean? Yesterday, Marcus Semien, he has a baby. He's gone. Okay? He only has 1 shortstop on his roster. He only has 1 shortstop. So he didn't even make a transaction tonight to get another shortstop for tomorrow. And I'm not saying that you are going to, you don't, like, I'm sure he doesn't know the ins and outs of Marcus Semien's life, and he doesn't know that he's going to have a baby. I'm not saying that he should, but this is why I think in order to be successful, you got to have 2 guys at each position. Maybe not catcher, because catcher's a different situation. But you got to have 2 of everybody else. You just got to have something to throw in there and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, because it's going to come back to kill you.
I agree. You should have depth.
Yeah, and just something. And there again, like yesterday, he had Tommy Pham in the lineup. Tommy Pham didn't play. And he did come in and have a pinch hit RBI, which was probably a sac fly or something.
Right.
But again, you know, if you're not going to set that lineup, it's very important to have depth, to have other guys that you can at least go to the next day and fix it, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I get the life thing and, you know, the being able to check your lineup and things like that. I mean, it does make it tough. You know, it's hard to, you know, to always find, I know, and this is what you sometimes don't understand too, is not everybody has the same lifestyle and has the same
No, I get it.
luxuries.
I understand that.
So, I mean, it is tough sometimes to check your lineup. I mean, I missed not starting David Dahl or yanking David Dahl the other day because he wasn't playing, and I got lucky and he had a pinch hit home run, but, you know, that was still a hole that, you know, so, I mean, I get that part. I just don't understand. To me, the usage of pitching this year in the league is just totally different, at least it appears that way, than it's ever been as far as using, not using, churning. Well, as far as churning goes, and I've said this to you a couple times, there's nothing out there.
No.
I don't understand, and I know we'll get bench champions and say, well, if you do the right matchup, yes. If you go to CBS and it gives you their list of starters, or you can get on ESPN and the daily sites and they'll say, this is your top, you know, churner for the day and stuff like that. But I mean, you're still talking number 4s and number 5s.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So my question is, number 1, where, I don't have internet access apparently. I don't know where, number 1, where are all these starters at? Number 2, how can people afford not to pitch guys?
I don't know. I don't know. It's weird roster management. I don't have a good answer. You know, I mean, look, I'm on board with you guys. Like, as far as, like, I would look at my team and say, how in the world is this team in first place? It doesn't make any sense. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head when you were like, hey, there's correlation between the guys who are the most active on it and where they are in the standings, because I think that's part of it. Because I'm able to just put in my guys and fix it as quick as possible when something goes wrong. You know?
Right.
and maybe it is that I care more. You know, I mean, like on the text thread, I saw the word fake baseball 3 different times from Team Jobu, and it's funny because I feel like there's some truth to that in his opinion, and there's just some of excuse on that. It depends on how it is.
Well, yes, when
You know?
it's amazing, and there's a couple people that are like this. When they're winning, it's the decisions they're making. They're so smart. They research this and that. But when they're losing, it's I was here. I was doing this. It's just fantasy bait. I mean, then have it both ways. Say the same BS when you're at the top and winning. Don't just say it when you lose or when your team starts to struggle and it's it's just fantasy baseball and I don't care. Okay. Then you say that when you're at the top. I will tell you this, and you're not going to like this. Go back and watch the videos last year. I said the same thing all year long. Set it and forget it, and that's all I did. And I was bored. I said that all year long.
Yeah, and I think part of that is that you were in a position where your team was so much better than everybody else, you didn't have to do anything. You could just like you said, set it and forget it.
Right.
Now, obviously, you're not at that same stage this year. It hasn't worked out for you this week or this year as it had in the past, and that probably...
The cream always rises to the top.
Okay, well, whatever. So it gives you some motivation to at least try to fix things and make it a little bit better. So, but yeah, I don't know. There's just so many transactions that I just it doesn't make sense to me.
Like?
Well,
let's just close this off real quick. So if I go starting pitchers available, current, Colin McHugh, Nathan Eovaldi, Adam Conley.
Now, first of all, Colin McHugh and Adam Conley are not in the rotation.
Correct.
They are middle guys,
Seth Lugo is getting a start.
Yeah.
Jamie Barria is owned. He's a farm guy. Wade Miley. Clay Buchholz.
And you sorted this by ranking.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I know there's no names there. I get it. So I'm not really criticizing starting pitching ads because you got to get what you got to get. I guess he's best available, who they're pitching against, that kind of stuff.
I guess. I wouldn't even. So who picked? Did you pick Hap back up again?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because of the market of starting pitching that there is. Just like you said, you read all those other names. Would you rather have Hap or the guys you just mentioned?
Now, the last 14 days, let me give you some better names. Mike Leake, Jason Hamill, Lance Lynn.
Well, Lance Lynn has the ability to be in something. I don't know if he will or not, but he's got the pedigree.
Jaime Garcia.
No, I don't want that at all.
Jason Vargas. Like, where are all these pitchers? Where are what happened to the free agent? Does this mean everybody has 8 or 9 starting pitchers?
I think it's weird because I don't know if the change of quality starts and total bases has altered everybody's way that they run their roster or not, because I felt like what used to happen is that everybody only had 6 or 7 pitchers on their team. So you could go to free agency and you could get it. Now, instead, what we're doing is that everybody's got 8 or 9, but we're not even throwing the guys anyway. So I don't know why everybody has 8 or 9. And I guess it's because of the quality starts. Because they look at that and they're like, I got to have these starters so that I can win these quality starts. But if you don't pitch them, you don't get their stats. You don't get those quality starts. So I don't get it.
Again, roster management.
Apparently he's looking at something separate. What are you looking at right now?
Well, I'm looking at a team that has a guy on the DL, and he's not in a DL spot. He's eating up a 28-man roster spot.
Now, is his DL full? Does he have 5 guys on the DL?
He has 3.
Who are we looking at?
Carlos Martinez.
Carlos Martinez? Oh, my.
5 swords.
When was he put on the DL?
Well, he hasn't pitched since May 8th. Now, he is going to make a rehab appearance. It was posted on the 29th. But are you telling me he hasn't had him on his DL the whole time?
Oh God, I don't know. We would have to go back and look on that.
Well, here, no, you showed me that thing, right? Player history? Won't that show me if they put him? No.
No, that won't. It won't show individuals.
Gotcha.
But here you can do this, and then like we can go back to like Saturday, May 19th. Just pick a date, and I'll look at Five Swords, and we'll see if Carlos Martinez is on the DL at that time. And he's not. So
I mean, roster management. We have 5 DL spots.
does he not know that? I guess he doesn't know it.
It was 4 last year, so I mean, he has to. But anyways, I was looking him up because I was going to count starting pitchers. Now, he did make some trades, which we can't talk about, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 he has.
10
Yes.
starting pitchers?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're saying that's too many?
I don't know. Is that the norm? Is that the new norm?
I think I've had as many as 9. I don't think I've ever hit the 10 mark.
Alaska Glaciers has 7, with the potential of Bumgarner coming back to be 8.
He's not coming back till next Tuesday, though, for Alaska Glaciers.
How many do you have?
8?
Is Amir Garrett starting, or is he?
No, he's a Holtz guy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With Robbie Ray and Irvin Santana on your DL. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe everyone has 8 starting pitchers now. It seems like that's the new cool number to have.
Well, I guess with Five Swords, he made the trade that we didn't talk about because we wait until, you know what I mean?
Correct.
That trade
He did acquire pitching.
He acquired 2 more pitchers and didn't drop any. Reyes came off the DL, so now he's got 10. That's why he's got so many. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I guess he's probably in his position where but see, he's got guys on here that are just draw. If you're gonna have 10 pitchers, you know, pitcher number 7, 8, 9, and 10 are just bringing down your studs. You know what I mean? When you're throwing that many guys, the numbers
Correct.
are going to come down.
Correct. How about Cobra Kai? 2, 6, 7. Everybody has freaking 8 starting pitchers.
No?
What is going on? 8 starting pitchers? Is that the new rule change? Is everybody prepping for a new rule change that I wasn't informed about? New league minimum is 8?
But it obviously has watered down the free agent market
Absolutely.
and starting pitchers.
Absolutely.
So that is a big deal. Well,
because we know Ben's Champions has what? He has at least 8, right? Because that's his whole pitching staff. Oh, he's got 9 or 10.
he doesn't want to waste the transactions.
Oh my gosh. What is going on, people?
3, 4, 5, 6. I can tell you that 6644 only has 6 starting pitchers.
I think I have 7.
So and Alaska Glaciers only has 6 active right now too. We already talked about that.
Right. But that's just because Syndergaard went on the DL. How about
Yeah.
Zips? Zips normally has... He has 7. Okay. So it's about half. We're almost at half. I'd say 6-4. It's a majority. I can say that it's a majority.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Still.
sure that has something to do with it, but I mean, I don't know. I'll at least give people a pass as they try to feel out the starting pitching categories, because we
Right.
have 2 new categories this year. People don't know exactly how to manage it right. People are trying to figure out how to deal with total bases when basically it's just flip a coin. You have no idea how many total bases your guy's going to give up.
How many weeks do you need to figure it out? It's week 9.
I don't know.
Week 9, people.
To be honest with you, I mean, I think the pitching bothers him more, but for me, it bothers me more that guys just don't have extra offensive guys, and I can't understand it in 2018 why it's okay. So many great players got sat yesterday because there's a lot of off days on Thursday, so what they'll do is that they'll sit them Wednesday so that they get 2 days off going into the weekend. And they didn't have anybody to put in for them. They was like, oh, well, they're on the bench, so I'm gonna run at you with a half lineup because they weren't playing.
But what do you think about this? Transactions. We have 2 teams over 100 already, and we're not even at the halfway point.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 teams in the 80s, 1 team in the 70s, and there is a GM who will say, this is a fact, that the 4 teams that are 7, 8, 9, and 10 are also have the fewest transactions in the league. Do you have a rebuttal for that statement?
No, because I feel like a few years ago, it wouldn't have mattered. But I think in today's game, in today's 2018, you have to be kind of active in order to stay above your competition. You just have to. I mean, for instance, Paul Goldschmidt was awful, right? Did you ever get to a situation where you're like, hey, I got to bench Paul Goldschmidt?
I never played him.
You get what I'm saying?
I wasn't playing him.
Right. But
no, I'm saying I stopped playing him.
Right. But in order to do that, you had an extra first baseman to play at first base. Do you realize right now, Alaska Glaciers, if Marcus Semien goes 0 for 40, unless he goes in there and adds a shortstop,
right? No,
Marcus Semien's going 0 for 40 for Alaska Glaciers because he doesn't have anybody else to put in there. And I know that you could say, oh, well, he would see that he was 0 for 20 and then make the change, would he? You know what I mean? Like, would he right away?
I played Paul Goldschmidt for 37 games.
Yeah, that's that. Like 2/3 or something at the time of trade? Because what are we at? We're at like game 60 now, right? Something like that. And you haven't had him now for a couple days.
Right.
So in that range, I don't know.
Maybe half. I'd say maybe half.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody else is in the 50s.
Yeah.
50s and 40s for me.
But hey, I think we can tie this up in a bow to say the same thing that everybody says in the text thread. Each GM can run their own team, let them run it. But I think that's why you're getting poor results. I think it's that simple.
Real quick, and then we'll go into power rankings.
Power rankings.
So, it's not schedule. Standings-wise, there's starting to be a little bit of a separation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's going to widen, or do you think it's... So basically what I'm saying is you have the top 6 all within 7.5 games of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got 7 through 10, and as you each go down each rung, the ladder to climb back up is getting steeper and steeper.
I think if All Rise figures out his pitching woes, and I don't know how he'll do that. I don't know if he's going to have to do trading because apparently there's nothing in the free agent list that's going to fix it. But if he can somehow fix his pitching woes, he can stay in there. I think Zips is active enough that he can fix any issues that he has. He'll keep trying to get it. So I don't. I hate to say it because I'm always the bad guy. You always put me in a position where I'm the one who has to say this. But 5 Swords is done.
Oh, he called it. 5 Swords, your season's over. Stop playing, according to this guy.
Well, he's 15 games behind everybody else. Everybody else, not just the playoffs. He's not 15 games out of the playoff spot. He's 15 games behind the rest of the league.
Correct.
That is a huge.
But it is only week 9 right now.
Yes.
I will say I still think he has a chance.
Right. But he's also 22 games out of a playoff spot.
Correct.
So not only does he have to make up 22 games out of a playoff spot, he still has to climb over 7, 8, and 9 to get there.
Right, but
That's
as I said before,
do.
he's going to play them. And when you play somebody and beat them, it helps you better than relying on whatever. But okay. So my question is, do you think there's going to be a separation? You've seen everybody play everybody once. You see how the standings stack up now. Do you expect there to be a group of 6? How about that? We'll do that.
I don't think there's going to be separation like that. I think there could
You think it's going to be a solid group of 6 all season?
I would say a solid group of 8.
So you think that we're all going to come back down to earth together?
Kind of, yes.
Wow.
Here's what I think. If there's going to be separation, it's going to be the top of the standings, and no, it's not going to be me. It's not going to be me because I'm not built that way. But I feel like there is a chance. There's certain things that are happening with certain teams that I can see that they could get ahead of everybody else. But other than that,
Okay.
no. But actually, man, it might just be you because I don't see how these other teams do it. I don't see how they can run away and hide. I think you're the only team who can. I don't think anybody else can.
What about you?
I'm not built that way.
You just
I
said
know
you're
that.
7-2.
I know. I can win every matchup, but I can't blow out a lot of people, and I know that. I'm okay with that. I get it. I know who I am. I know who I am.
That's who he is. All right. Wrap it up.
All right. So
Power rankings.
Power rankings. Okay, now it's time for power rankings.
Big shakeup in my power rankings.
Yeah, mine are a little bit different too.
Big shakeup.
So,
We will apologize in advance. We do not have a Cobra Kai sign made yet. Okay, so we apologize, Globo Gym, that we'll work on that for you.
okay, well, we'll talk about that when we actually see Globo Gym in the rankings.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
My number 6, dropping, trending down.
Ooh, Alaska Glaciers. Yeah.
Offense is in trouble, and
I
with the
agree with
pitching being not a consistent staple, he's on. I actually teetered on him not being in my top 6.
I can see that. You have valid points. My number 6 is Team Jobu. We have discussed Team Jobu having the most fortunate roto schedule.
Yes.
I think he's been fortunate to be as high as he is because he's technically in second place right now. He's only a half game out of first place, but I am still not a believer of Team Jobu.
I also have Team Jobu lower in my power rankings. He's number 5. For everything you just said, number 1, easiest schedule. It's like we talked about earlier in the video, not even close. Sometimes you got to be fortunate. You can't control who you play.
I agree.
You can't control it. And he has been very. What do I want to say? I don't know. I lost it.
He lost it.
I lost it.
He lost
He's been very.
He's been very. My number 5 is 6644.
Really?
Yes.
Is that where you had him last week? I thought you had him higher.
No, I didn't. I think I had him 6 last
Okay.
week. But
So you bumped him up.
I bumped him up a spot.
He's trending up.
It's again. I feel like he could be so much better with better roster management, but we'll see.
I don't entirely disagree with that statement. I think he could be better if he had a better pitching staff.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
However, that being said, he is my number 4.
Number 4.
And I think it's more a result of him trending up and everybody else trending down.
My number 4, and I agree with what you said about him, is Alaska Glaciers. I had my Alaska Glaciers a lot higher going in, so I didn't want to just completely drop him from 1 to 6 or whatever. But he did drop from 1 to 4, especially after because I'm currently playing him in this current week, and now that I'm actually really
Dissecting his roster because that's what he does when he plays someone.
yeah,
He studies their
I'm
roster.
realizing there is some issues there, and they need to be addressed.
My number 3.
Number 3, Bear Bashers.
Like you said, you keep winning despite having the second easiest schedule roto-wise. So I can't pat you on the back for that.
That's
but,
fine.
there is something to be said about winning all the time.
Yeah.
Unless you're Team Joe Bill. But again, I could easily drop you down to anywhere
I get
just
it.
because
I understand.
I don't respect your schedule.
That's fine.
You're Alabama. You're the SEC right now.
I get it. Okay. Not a problem. My number 3 is Ben's Champions. I dropped him down a slot from last week.
Because?
Because his offense finally didn't perform, and then what happened? He lost 11-5.
Interesting.
Because I had him up around number 2, despite the pitching not being good, and we know the pitching's not good.
I dropped him as well to number 2.
Number 2, and you don't want to say anything about it.
He is what he is.
He is what he is.
He's got 8 pitchers he's going to roll out there. He's going to try and win wins, quality starts, and strikeouts. And he thinks he's just going to beat the crap out of you with his juggernaut offense, which is why he traded for D. Gordon so he could win stolen bases.
Right.
Problem is, if his guys don't hit, then what do you have to fall back on?
Yep. And then whenever he acquires a pitcher, what does he do right away? Trades him away. Trades him away. And as we have already discussed, there are not great streaming options in the free agent list.
No.
So you're not going to be able to just pick up random guys and compete with other guys, especially when we all have 8-man pitching staffs that are pretty strong.
And if you think that you're always going to pick up the next great farm pitching guy that comes up and he's always going to pitch well, I mean, you're rolling the dice too.
Yeah. My number 2 is myself. I moved myself up a little bit. I can tell you the difference between last year and this year, because last year I faded a lot. This year, I actually have guys who aren't performing where they're going to perform, and yet I'm still up high. So
Yes, when you have the second easiest schedule, you should be.
well, I got guys coming off the DL like Andrews and stuff like that. Definitely going to help me out.
Okay.
So Justin Turner just came back.
That is an improvement. That will help your batting average.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think there's good things in the future as opposed to last year where I knew I was going to fade and there really wasn't much I could do about it. But this year, I think I can maintain in the upper echelon of the standings, if you will. Okay,
You finished second last year.
Yeah, but it was a very. I had like a 15-game lead, and I kind of finished 15 behind you. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like faded that strongly. Okay. So yeah.
So again, unrehearsed, undiscussed or not discussed prior to going into this.
Number 1 must be Cobra Kai. Oh, it's not Cobra Kai. But see, Cobra Kai's not in mine. He's not my number 1. Does that mean he's not in our power rankings at all? Cobra Kai?
You haven't won a matchup.
Wow.
You haven't won a matchup since week 4.
Since week 4. So let me see. And we're in week 9 now.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Wow. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Who's your number 1?
As I was going to say, unrehearsed. I just think that
Unrehearsed. What? My number 1 is also Team B. Yeah.
don't poke. Don't poke.
I feel like if there's one team that I wouldn't want to play, it's that team. Like that's how you look at it. I know that's
why I built that roster.
I know there's no facts or anything based on that. I know everybody loves their facts, but
I don't have a good head-to-head record.
yeah, I know you're only 4-4 head to head, but
when I win big.
And where are you, like 2.5 out right now?
Yeah,
something like that. So I mean, you're still in striking distance of where you need to be.
I also have faced the second toughest schedule to date.
Yeah. So yep, there you go. We only have right now. We are currently in week 9, which actually is an important week because that basically is the halfway point. You've played everybody once, so it's not exactly the halfway point because you play a few teams 3 times, but you've at least played everybody once.
What you should have stated instead of trying to say it like that is, we are now in week 9. Everyone has played everyone once. You should have some kind of a feeling for how everybody is running their rosters or what their team or roster management is going to be like the next time you play them.
And
So you look forward to your rematch with Five Swords to avenge one of your most embarrassing losses?
I feel like my team underperforms every time I play Five Swords. So I'm not looking forward to it because I don't know. It's one of those. Everybody has that one guy they play, and it's like, man, why can't I beat this guy?
Most interesting matchup for the week that you're anticipating seeing what the end score is going to be?
The week we're in currently?
Yes.
I think this is a big week for Cobra Kai. Because he's playing Five Swords, and he hasn't won since week 4. He's got to win this week.
For a guy that doesn't like to rag on Five Swords, you sure do go out of your way to bring him up every single time.
Well, do you disagree with what I'm saying? I think it's very important for Cobra Kai. He's supposed to be a guy who is,
I actually think this is a huge week in general for all the matchups. You have V, who is kind of gaining some momentum, playing Zips, who is trying to get out from the bottom, who had a very great roto week last week.
Doesn't do you any good if you get blown out the next week.
Correct. You have Alaska Glaciers, who's struggling, playing you now, who's also been very consistent. So that's the big matchup for Alaska Glaciers. You have both two teams in All Rise and Bench Champions who are both struggling. So each one of them needs a victory of some sort. You've got, as you just said, Cobra Kai playing Five Swords, who Five Swords needs to start righting the ship to gain some ground. And you have Cobra Kai, who's trying to plug all the holes in his sinking ship. And then the last matchup, you've got Team Jobu trying to prove himself that he belongs at the top of the standings against 6644, who by strength of schedule has been the most unluckiest guy so far.
He's not trying to prove himself. He's in Puerto Rico. He doesn't care.
He does not care. Yes, he does not care.
He doesn't care.
It's hashtag fake baseball.
Fake baseball. Fake baseball. That's what we talk about every time. Fake baseball. It doesn't really happen. So yeah. But we will have a special segment next week. Are you excited for the special segment? You're not? Why not?
Because it's your idea.
Oh, it's because it's my idea.
So it's going to suck.
We are going to look over our sleepers and busts, and we will go back to the preseason video. Oh, you actually have them written down. You have them written down. Okay.
This is the original.
Oh, that's the original. We will go back and we will look them over, and we will see how many of us were correct and how many of these were incorrect. Because I feel like there's a little bit of both. It's not. It will probably be pretty close, probably in the long run. But we will see for sure, and we will see who won with the best predictions or projections, whichever one you want to call it.
We don't need to look. We already know.
Well, we will see next week.
The
Dynasty.